Alright, welcome to the ultimate guide to graphing linear inequalities, level 1. Now for letter A, we have y is, and you need to know what this symbol means. Well, this symbol means less than. So this is something we need to commit to memory. And whenever you have just a y and an x, it's very simple. That line goes through the origin and has a slope of 1 over 1. Alright, but let's go ahead and talk about the properties of less than. So less than is going to be property number 1. It's going to be a dashed line. So something like this. And property number 2, it'll be shaded below. So when it's less than, we know that we're going to shade everything below that line. By the way, how do you know what is above or below a line? Well, just imagine if you were to put a person on this line, where would you put them? Well, you would put them somewhere right there. Well, wherever you would draw the person on your line, that is always going to be above the line. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about our next symbol. So this symbol we can call greater than, and it's kind of similar. So I go to draw it, and remember we're just doing y and x. And so property number 1 for this one is it will have a dashed line. And so let's see, so we have our line, it'll look something like this, dashed line. And property number 2, when it's greater than, it will be shaded above. Okay, property number 2, shaded above. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our third symbol. So this is actually something that we call less than or equal to. Less than or equal to. And so what does this one look like? Well, this is where we have our first change. And I would encourage you to pause the video and finish taking your notes. I'm going to erase some things here. When we're talking about less than or equal to, 1, we have to know it's going to have a solid line, and 2, so let's just go ahead and draw our solid line. But when it's less than, well, kind of much like the first one, it will be shaded below. So anytime we see a less than, no matter whether it's less than or equal to, well, it will always be shaded below. Now for letter D, what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video, and I want you to take a guess, what properties do you think letter D is going to have? Let's see here. So here, what do you think we'll call this? Well, we call this greater than or equal to. And when I go to draw my graph, we know it's going to have all the same characteristics going through the origin. But the thing is, whenever it has that line underneath, even for this one, whenever they have the line underneath, when they have the or equal to, it's always going to be a solid line. And so I can go ahead and draw my solid line. And since it's greater than, we know that it will in fact be shaded above. So here I can shade everything above. Alright, well those are our 4 inequalities. And let's go ahead and graph 2 very quick and easy examples. Go ahead, pause the video, finish taking any notes that you need to. Okay, for example 1, we have y is less than or equal to 1/3 x. I am going to use a different color here to represent, hey, whenever we see this, it's kind of similar to y equals mx plus b. We know that our slope is that 1 over 3. And there's really nothing over here, so for our y-intercept, it's almost like saying plus 0, since nothing's being added. So this will cross at the origin, and with our slope being 1 over 3, we know we're going to go up 1 and to the right 1, 2, 3 for our first point. And for our next point, we can go up 1 and to the right 1, 2, 3 again. And from here, let's kind of look at our properties. It is the less than or equal to symbol, so 1, it should have a solid line. And 2, it's the less than, so we know it's going to be shaded below. And by the way, whenever you're shading below, what does that really mean? It means that all of our solutions are here in the shaded region. Okay, let's go ahead and use a different color. Nice little purple here. For example 2, we see we have y is greater than 2 minus 5x. Now, if I write y equals mx plus b on top, notice that my b term, my y-intercept, is actually the first thing since it's our constant. Okay, so here's our b term, our y-intercept. We're going to go up to positive 2 and put our very first point. We see that our slope is this negative 5 over 1. Remember, when we have a whole number slope, we want to change it to a fraction. And we're going to count down 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to the right 1, I have my point. But notice here we have the greater than symbol. So 1, it should be a dashed line since there's no equal to. And 2, it should be shaded since greater than, shaded above. So I go ahead and do my dashed line. I shade it above the line. And of course we can tell, like, hey, there's where all of our solutions are. One final question. If a point is on a solid line, is it a solution? Well, let's go ahead and kind of say, you know what, this point right here is clearly the point 3, 1. And yeah, that would be a solution since it's on a solid line. So here, let's go to where we said solid line. Let's say solution. But what about if it's on the dotted line? Like, for example, this point. This point would be 0, 2. Well, when it's on a dashed line, we'd say not a solution. Not a solution. All right? I'll see y'all in our next level video.